Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about the truths of awareness, about what the mastery of awareness is going to look like, what that is. So let's dig into it, shall we? There consists what there's called is a truths of awareness, and this is not coming from me. It's coming from teachings from the masters of awareness. And I just wanted to share them with you so that we know what we're talking about when we're looking at things. So let's look at what the truths of awareness actually are. So number one, the universe consists of an infinite number of energy fields resembling threads of light. Number two, these energy fields, referred to as the eagle's emanations, radiate from a source of inconceivable proportions, metaphorically called the eagle. Now, I don't know, have you ever put like an iron filings on a piece of paper, then stuck a magnet on it? It kind of looks like an eagle. So I wonder what these seers were actually seeing. Were they seeing an electromagnetic field of some sort emanating our universe? I don't know. Makes you wonder. I have no idea. Number three, human beings are also composed of an infinite number of the same thread-like energy fields. These strings of light energy fields, these light fiber energy fields, encase a person's body and manifest as a ball of light around the person's body, the size of which is about, where your hands extend overhead, how your hands extend this way. That's where that picture of Leonardo da Vinci had a picture of the guy doing like this, and it shows it's metaphorically called the Cocoon of Man. It's known as the Cocoon of Man, and it's the egg of man. So you look like an egg. So number four, at a certain point, a little place on on the luminous ball, there exists a point where the small group of these energy fields are intensely illuminated. Number five, perception occurs when the energy fields in that point of brilliance, that brilliant point of alignment, aligns with identical energy fields outside the luminous ball. Since the only energy fields perceived are those that are in alignment with and illuminated by that point of brilliance, this point has been termed as the point where perception is assembled, also known as the assemblage point. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we know how perception is assembled. Now we're getting into awareness. I don't know why my phone's going off all the time. Who cares? We're kind of busy this second. The assemblage point, number six. The assemblage point can be moved from its usual position on the surface of the cocoon, known as the luminous ball of man, to another position on its surface or even into its interior. When this is accomplished, the point of perception aligns with different energy fields, perceiving a different reality completely. This movement of perception is known as seeing. Very, very interesting. Number seven, when the assemblage point shifts or moves far enough, to make a difference, when it shifts far enough, it realigns with different energy fields on the outside of the cocoon, thereby perceiving a different reality completely. You're going to assemble a new world when you do this. They're they're as real and as solid as the one we see on normal everyday life. Sorcerers would move into these fields to gain energy, to gain power, to gain clarity, to make decisions, um, to act powerfully in what they want to do. If they're going to battle, they would maybe want to move this your assemblage point to the position of like no pity, or there they had some names they would call positions, certain positions on the Cocoon of Man, where you have certain powers. So anyway, there exists. Let's go to number 8. Number 8. There exists in the universe an all-pervading force that causes us to perceive. This is what causes us to perceive, whatever this force is. We refer to this force as intent. We do not become aware because we perceive. Rather, we perceive as a result of the force of intent. So whatever intention is forcing us to perceive whatever we want. So, yeah, okay. So number 9. The goal of the warrior sorcerer is to reach a state of total awareness so as to experience all the possibilities of perception available to man. This state of awareness implies also an alternate way of dying. They're talking about dying a different way, not actually going through all these struggles and stuff. They're actually talking about an alternate way to die. Moving the assemblage point is essential to seeing. So that's what seeing is moving of the assemblage point. Now, there's also another task that we've been tasked to the modern seers, which is you and I. Our task is to move the perception point of the planet. And how we do this is we start teaching people how to move their perception to see something different. Because what's happened here is the perception point's been locked solid in a certain position for so long that nobody knows there's anything different. And this is all they see, this reality, when in fact there's a whole infinite number of possibilities that exist, but all they can see is the one because of the social conditioning and everything that's happened. And so our job is to move the assemblage point of the planet. And to do that, we have to move a certain number of assemblage points of the people. And then the whole ship gets steered by these new seers. So this is a very important point. It's kind of like the 100th monkey syndrome or something. If you notice that, I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but anyway, when there becomes a certain number of monkeys eating a banana on an island, then all of a sudden all the monkeys in the whole planet are eating bananas, whereas before they weren't. So that's kind of interesting. So what we want to do is get to that tipping point, and I think we're almost there. It's like, because people are waking up and they're actually seeing there's our different realities, there's different dimensions, it's multidimensional. And I'm telling you, when you first wake up, this can be scary as hell, because, you don't know what you're looking at, because there's other beings in these other places, and some of them aren't that damn nice. But you know what, you'll figure the only real enemy we really have is death. Death's not our enemy. It's the only competitor we have. It's the only challenger we have, really, because we're so powerful that there is no other challenger that can contend. So I want you to believe how powerful you really are. And I want you to thank you for watching this video. I know they're not much, but this is what I have to share. I know it takes something to get yourself out of that regular position of looking how everything is. And see, we can move out of it, then we can fall back asleep again. So it takes consistent. You're gonna have to have unbending intent to be able to move this on a regular basis and see other perceptions and realities continually on a regular basis. This takes you have to just be impeccable with wanting to do it. Otherwise, you're going to fall asleep again. You're not going to be interested. You're just going to forget about it. Forget about it. It's way too hard. Who wants to do that when I can just go do whatever? You know, it takes it takes something. This is not for the faint. This is not for the weak. I'm just going to tell you. I've known there's something been up for my whole entire life, and I was like, in us indigos, we started throwing monkey wrenches into the system a long time ago, just so we could see a different reality. Sometimes you have to throw a monkey wrench in your whole entire world and stop it. And just when your world stop, then you have to see something new, because the old world has collapsed. I don't know if that makes any sense or if anybody's experienced that, but that's what actually happens. Your world collapses, and you can assemble a new world. So this is a very powerful way to live, and actually anything is possible. So what we're trying to do is enroll as many people as we can to align with a different reality, because the one we've been living in kind of sucks. There's been some hanky-panky going on, and it's just not cool. Not going to happen anymore because we're so powerful. We can just align to a different reality. So, listen, this is very powerful stuff, and it's been kind of hidden knowledge for a long, long time, until like the 80s or so. But even then, not a whole lot of people knew about it. So I'm just telling you, it's kind of cool. And even now, not a whole lot of people are knowing about it. And they certainly aren't practicing it on a daily basis, every single day when they wake up until they go to bed. And even when they're in the dream world, they're practicing it. So there are certain things we can do to get this assemblage point to move. And the two main ones they taught me was dreaming, the art of dreaming, and the art of stalking. And there's other things you want to do, like recapitulate your entire life. And when you start to recapitulate, you'll start to notice different perception point. There's different perceptions that you didn't see when you actually were living through the experience. When you go back and relive that experience, you'll be able to see a different perception point that maybe you didn't see before. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest common denominators that I've seen in all my recapitulations, in all my stuff that I've gone through, I was there. I'm the number one common denominator. So I don't have to look any further than myself to know that what's happening on the outside is something that has to align with inside. It has to do with alignment of this perception point. And this perception point is by your intent. Your intent is causing your world to manifest. So let's look at that. So maybe it's my thoughts, my emotions, and intent is made of a lot of different things. So we have to be very, very aware of what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're doing, what we're acting, how we're being, and actually what we're not doing is even a bigger part. What are we not doing? And what are we actually doing? Because we're always constantly doing. So what can we not do? So that's a different way. There's a different way to look at everything. And we're just so caught up in our automatic, already always doing and perceiving of things that it's automatic. And it's just wham. You just keep going like that on a railroad train right to death. And it's insanity. I'm telling you, that's insane. Whereas there's actually an alternate way of dying where you don't have to, there's no suffering, there's no pain. You can actually merge with consciousness of the universe and 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 get to serve like everyone, everything. And so that's a very powerful way to leave this situation, and that's how I chosen to go. It's been quite a wild ride so far, so I want you to buckle up. And I want to thank you for coming and watching this video. If you like what you see, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. We'll be talking a little bit more about this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. I've got some jewelry coming. I got a friend making this stuff for me. Our websites are gonna be coming up soon. I've got a plant-based cookbook because we've gone vegetarian. So we're gonna teach you some of the recipes that we have that we can use to make yourself start cleaning yourself out inside. Because there's also, you got to be aware of what's going on. There's all these poisons. There's all this nonsense they're giving us to eat. It's a way to manipulate your consciousness to keep you in a trap, to keep you in the matrix. So you've got to be able to become aware of these things, and once you are, you'll know how to feel the food and see if it's GMO or not. Because some of these GMOs, there's no life force in them. You just put your hand over them, you can tell there's nothing in there. And I'll do a video about it, maybe just watching how we check out the fruits and vegetables. They put certain numbers on the label, and sometimes you can tell that way. But you really have to or you can use a pendulum. Use a pendulum, see if there's any life force in it or not. Because based on your intent, intent is very powerful. It's very powerful, and so our intent is to see if there's any life force in the fruits and vegetables that we're eating. You can use a pendulum on top of them before you buy them, or you can just feel the energy. You'll be able to tell, and I'll show you the difference between a GMO and a real piece of fruit. Because GMOs, you won't be able to taste it. They don't smell, they don't taste, and they don't rot that fast, and they don't look. They look excellent. They look like they're perfect. Whereas a real piece of fruit will have blemishes on it. It won't look very perfect, and it'll smell good, and it'll taste delicious. And you'll be able to feel the life force energy entering your body and through your bloodstream and flowing throughout your veins, and it's just great. So you've got to be aware of that too, because this nonsense they're feeding you, think about it, no life force energy, what are we eating them for? Is it trying to alter my DNA? Maybe, because they've altered the DNA of the plant. So you've got to become aware of what's really going on. And what about all these cell phone towers they're putting up? I see all these freaking cell phone, and I think those look like weapons of mass destruction to me. I don't know what the heck that is. And I saw one on a school. And those frequencies coming off of those things are freaking horrible. I don't know if you've ever felt them before. They can actually use those frequencies to steer. They can steer those frequencies and hone in on an individual and cook them. I mean, that's freaking crazy. What in the flip is going on? And you know what? Time to move the assemblage point of the planet. So whoever's with me, come on, let's go. We're going to flip this world. So I really appreciate you watching this. We won't talk about too much. I like to talk about rainbows and butterflies and stuff like that. It's just funner. It's, and talking trees and rocks that move and talk to you. There's all sorts of possibilities here. And this was what was alive when you were a child, if you can remember. Once you actually be able to see, you'll realize that you've always seen this way and that you just forgot. That's all. It's just simply you just forgot. You fell asleep. You went into the dream, and you got to realize that it's just a dream. The whole life has been just a dream. Can you? I mean, get a grip on that. Anyway, I've rambled on and off, and I want to thank you for watching. Once again, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.